Hello and welcome back to another one of my videos. I'm Les Play Games with another visual novel review. This one took me a lot longer to make because it was literally double in length than the last one I did. And on top of that, there were some extra unlockable scenes that were hidden, behind some certain side quests. And your boy had to get those. Anyway, enough wasting time. Today, the visual novel I bring to your attention is Evenicle. This visual novel is a lot different than Katawa Shoujo in that it has actual gameplay, and so to give this one a review I felt it was necessary to at least touch on it. We won't go into depth on the gameplay or mechanics since this isn't really a game review channel, but I'll at least give you a quick overview. So the novel plays like your typical RPG role-playing game, games like Final Fantasy, Chrono Trigger, Dragon Quest, or even Shin Megami Tensei, just to name a few. You and your squad, will travel around the world, vanquishing monsters or other enemies in the name of justice. You'll walk on the land, encounter enemies, beat them, then level up. You'll cross waters, encounter enemies, beat them, then level up. You'll find yourself a girl, get your footlong sucked, then level up. Your typical RPG style gameplay. What Evenicle does to set itself apart from other games mentioned is the fact that Evenicle has a auto battle function and a skip function, making it a lot easier for people to grind out those levels when something proves to be too difficult. So I was kind of kidding about the footlong part. You don't necessarily level up from interacting with your ladies, but you do get rewarded. On the bottom right, you can find this thing called a love gauge that'll slowly fill up as you fight encounters. Once it's full, you can then interact with one of your ladies so that you can get to know them on an emotional level or a physical level, wink wink. Once done, you'll be then rewarded with something like an item, an extra slot for equipments, or even the ability to use more skills. So now that you know how to play the game, we'll start talking about the plot. I said before that in most RPG games, you and your party will, go around the world and just, fight bad guys in the name of justice. Well, in this game, you'll be saving the world in the name of ass and tits. Like, I kid you not. Our main protagonist, his name is Asterisk, or Aster for short, is probably the horniest character I've ever read about. Everything he does and everything he stands for is for some lewd reason. Our hero, if you can even call him that, was born on some faraway island called Fresh Fish Island, and there he lived with, his these twins that he calls his older sisters, even though they aren't really related by blood. But now this is where the story kind of goes off the deep end, because on one fateful day, Aster's sisters finally agree to have sex with him. But here's the kicker: he can only have sex with one of them. In this world, a god exists, and she is called Mother Eve. And in creating the world that Aster and his sisters live in, she blesses all her children, all humans at least, with her benevolent divinity. This blessing allows people to lead happy, productive lives and to create sustenance of the earth. That is, as long as they follow Mother Eve's commandments. The commandments are, do not kill anyone under the blessing of Eve, and do not have more than one sexual partner. Breaking one or both of these commandments will earn you a black ring on your finger. This will show like the whole world that you are a breaker of Mother Eve's rules, and thus you'll be labeled as an outlaw. In this world, outlaws really have a rough time trying to get by. Not being able to create sustenance out of the earth means that anything you farm will wilt, anything you mine will turn poor. Thus, a lot of outlaws are actually forced to survive by either hunting or killing others. This further pushes them down the life of an outlaw. So you can see how like the commandments and being an outlaw kind of gets in the way of Aster, right? Any normal person in this situation would just, I guess, pick one of the twins and then just get on with it, get on with their lives. But our boy here is a filthy degenerate. Instead of choosing one of the twins, he is insistent in his choice in having both, and realizes that the only real way to have multiple partners or multiple wives is to become a powerful knight. For breeding in this world with multiple people is a right only given to the strong. Thus begins our fun, horny adventure with Aster. From Fresh Fish Island, our boy travels around the world, and just to show you how big this world looks, this is kind of what it looks like when you first start out, and then this is what the whole world looks like after you finish the game. It's pretty big. Anyway, on Aster's adventure, you'll come across funny or happy moments where he spends quality time with his family. Other times, you'll encounter serious moments such as political disputes between neighbor cities, and you're caught in the middle of it. And then you'll also find some traumatic or sad moments, which is inevitable when we're talking about a world with outlaws that live their lives by killing, stealing, or raping. And in this unfortunate world, if you're ever raped by an outlaw, you yourself actually become an outlaw, losing your Mother Eve's blessing. And now we're going to transition over to the ladies. The first of many wives is Ramius, also referred to as the Loner Knight. She was a strict and standoffish girl. Wanting to follow in her brother's footsteps, she achieved many great things as a knight. With a heart of gold, she'd defend the innocent even at her own personal cost. This type of attitude and her strength as a knight kind of ostracized herself from the other knights. Thus, this earned her the title of the Loner Knight. But, that's what normal people see, or the everyday people see. After she marries Aster, the walls that she surrounds herself slowly go down, and you realize that she's kind of a huge idiotic pervert. She collects porn magazines and is just always horny. In fact, she prides herself in being a porno aficionado, able to identify rare porn from a glance. The next wife you get is Rich. She's a princess from the first nation that you actually visit, called Eden. Rich is highly independent, she's selfish, and a busybody, which aren't really qualities fit for a princess. Thus, her father, the king, was worried about her future and, if she'd ever be fit for marriage. She has a strong sense of justice and has a deep love for her country. This pushes her to pursue those evildoers, or the outlaws in the world. And after marrying Aster, she serves as the rock, or the foundation of the family. Being more intelligent and responsible, for sure, than Ramius and Aster, she handles their money, organizes their adventures, and is generally the voice of reason. But of course she's not perfect. Being a mage that specializes in, magic, she has a deep, almost irrational hatred to these things called hannies. They're like these circular clay-shaped things, but they're all impervious to magic, so she just despises them. She also has zero disregard for people's personal space. Generally, after Aster chooses a wife to marry, they will go and consummate the marriage, and the day after, Rich is usually found bursting into Aster's room with breakfast. Man, this video is turning out to be a lot longer than I wanted it to be, so let's try to get through the last two girls faster. The next one is Gurigura. She was orphaned at a young age, and she was kind of put through years of horrendous training to be this great assassin. But that meant that she missed out a lot in terms of her childhood. She's innocent to a fault. This kind of led to bad people using her for their plot. They would say that, oh, you're a superhero and your actions are for the greater good, and she would follow their directions. But luckily with Aster, she's able to somewhat live the childhood that she was robbed of. She gets to enjoy stories now, play with any neighboring kids, and participate in any other childish activities. In the family, she's kind of seen as the younger sister or a cute pet. No one in the family is actually able to resist showering Gurigura with the love and attention she deserves. Okay, so the last girl we're going to go over is Catherine, or Cath for short. She's one of the few people that got the title of Zero Knight, which is the highest title that a knight can have. That's mainly because of her ability as a brilliant tactician. She's able to come up with crazy inventions that help the party throughout the story. This is evident actually through the novel because whenever Aster or his family encounter some difficult situation, all eyes always turn to Kath for a solution, and some way somehow she always delivers. But what's great about her, and this is arguably why I think she's my favorite, is that as Aster's wife, you see this proud, powerful Zero Knight is actually just a huge introverted nerd. She would rather stay secluded and confined in her own room where she's able to partake in, her favorite activities such as playing trading card games or reading manga. As a person who also likes just being in their room, I can relate. Kath also has a hard time talking about her feelings, so sometimes when she would talk to the other people in the family, she would seem a little standoffish or a little bit harsh, but everyone always knows that she just cares a lot and she means well. Alright, that's all the things we're going to cover today. Aster has 6 more wives that I haven't talked about, so you'll have to read those yourselves. But overall, I enjoyed the story in the game. Evenicle is definitely not a story you're supposed to take seriously. It's made me laugh personally numerous times by how it presents a serious or a dire situation and then always makes it silly somehow. It was a very fun read, a somewhat satire I think to the typical RPG franchise. This novel is going to be a bit difficult to recommend because for the people looking for the story, they'll have to go through the gameplay to unlock more of the story, and then for the people looking to play the game, well, they'll have to go through the story to continue playing. So but if you are looking for a comedy and enjoy playing role-playing games, then I suggest trying out Evenicle. You can purchase the game on Steam actually, or go on mangagamer.com. But anyway, that's going to be it for me. Let me know if there's a visual novel that you'd like me to review next, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.